I remember coming out of the delivery room and my mom just arrived. I just saw her, I burst into tears. Oh, it was so painful. It was so painful. She just held me.
I sat down and I was looking at my hands and saying, by this time tomorrow, I'm no longer single. Am I ready? Hello, viewers from all around the world. OpenTabletv on again to, gist with you, share ideas, pass information, and fun. And as always, I am here with my sister. Her name is
Osas.
And I am Izo. You're welcome to our show. We want to appreciate, before we go into our topic for today, want to appreciate all our subscribers and those that comment on our episodes. We really appreciate your comment and it just energizes us. So please keep it on, share, subscribe, and join the community. We are a community to join. So thank you. And if you're watching and you've not subscribed,
What are you waiting for?
please
Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. It does not bite.
So
Please join us, support our family.
thank you. So for today, we're going to touch on, it's kind of broad, but it's something that affects everybody. Different people have written poetry about it. They've written songs about it, books about it, and that is motherhood. I know our male audience will say, "Oh God, this does not concern me. It concerns you. Please don't look away." Even though gender-wise you might think it's not relative to you, but you have mothers, you have sisters. So please pay attention, and you will learn a thing or two. So we want to talk about motherhood. We'll share our stories. We would say statistically what we know, but it's going to be an exciting episode. So
in addition, you probably have a wife now, or will have a wife in the future. So this discussion will help you, understand a little bit about women and where the angles of where different things are coming from.
Motherhood. How was that transition for you as a single girl to a wife and then a mother?
Motherhood. In fact, motherhood is every woman's dream. Most women, except those that deliberately decide not to. But from when we were young, we are prepared to be wives and then mothers. And that's everybody's prayer and dream. So just like every other person, that was one of my dreams too. To get married, have kids and all the whole 9 yards. And thankfully, my dream and my prayer was answered. So it was a period of excitement and I was very happy. It was something you feel fulfilled being a mother with. Motherhood means you have kids, right?
Yeah.
Male or female, 1 or 2 or 10. But you have been able to achieve and fulfill that biological role of being a woman and having kids. So it was very intriguing and it was an awesome experience for me. It was one of our videos. We talked about the fertility journey, the one you shared. The link will be up here. And that video, I mentioned it that initially when I just got married, for a few months, I was a little bit of delay for me. And that was just like 3 or 4, 5 months from November to about March. And I was already becoming apprehensive because I felt, I've not had a baby yet. I'm not taking in yet and all that. But yeah, so it's something I looked forward to, and I believe everybody looked forward to. And
so mine is kind of either way. So growing up, and I think maybe you would have experienced that, we used to play house. Now I'll explain what I mean. Where young girls would gather, they pretend that they are cooking.
Yes.
They pretend that
this was the mommy, this was the daddy.
We used
have
to play
and
house.
You now act,
Yes, and then I remember then when so the playhouse was in different stages. There was the clay playhouse where you use sand to pretend that you're cooking a meal. And then we graduated from using, because obviously after cooking the sand, you can't eat it. So we used to put it here. We would do as if we're eating. And then we graduated from going to pick little things from our mother's grocery pantry. And then we tried to make a fire outside and try and cook it. And then we're playing house. So that time I was quite excited about, one day I would cook like my mom and tend to kids like my mom. I was excited at that age. But I grew up, and then in my teenage days, I didn't want to. For whatever reason. I didn't want to. I didn't want to. I kind of saw that there was a lot of demands on being a mother.
The responsibilities
of being was a lot. And I was like, am I sure I'm equipped for this? So I did not want to. I remember one time, and this even spanned into my university days. I remember one time I was in a group where somebody was asking questions, and I said, no, I was going to be a career woman. I wasn't going to get married. Everybody looked at me like as if I fell from the sky.
Yeah, because I was like, really?
Yes, I wasn't going to get married. I was going to be a career woman. But again, life would happen and then you change your notion. I think I remember the night of my wedding. I was after the whole, that's the night before the wedding.
Yeah.
After the whole party and everything, and I was alone by myself. And I sat down and I was looking at my hands and saying, by this time tomorrow, I'm no longer single. Am I ready? Because by nature, I'm a very analytical person. So I'm like, am I ready for what this thing will bring? The responsibilities.
Oh, girl, that was too late. You were already married.
I was like, am I? And I even remember that. When was that? Okay, you like the story you talked about my fertility journey and all that. And I had friends. So because in my clique of friends, I think I was one of the last to get married. So I've seen friends that had gotten married and they have kids. And I go and visit them and I see all the hassle the children are giving them.
I don't want this for myself.
I remember one time a friend of mine that had a child in the hospital and the child was in an incubator.
Oh.
And this child cried. And I said to myself, are you ready? I kept asking myself that question.
Yeah,
but again, one thing to ask yourself, are you ready? Well, it's another thing for you to be surprised when it is now placed on you that you rise to the occasion. You rise to the occasion. Because there are certain things that I do now, I even surprise myself. Because growing up as a child, I used to wonder, nights when we are sick, the slightest call of my mom will be by our side. I used to wonder, does this woman sleep? Because growing up as a teenager, I could sleep. And so I used to wonder, will I be as attentive as this woman? And now I notice that even though I might be in deep sleep, and the moment my child says something, I hear it. I don't know how the chemistry is, but that's how. So that's how it morphed.
For me, the responsibilities, women generally are designed, the feminine gender is designed by God in a way that you have this instinct. It's almost inbuilt. So because even with animals, even though that are not mammals or non-mammals, there is that instinct. Once they become mothers, they are very protective, attentive, and they rise up to the occasion. Surprisingly, even when you don't feel like you can catch up or you can meet up, somehow nature just gives you that strength. Women are awesome. Actually, women are doing wonders because we have been engraced with a lot of responsibilities, not bad responsibilities, not something too difficult. It looks tough when it's happening, but we have that natural grace to bear it and to take it up
and multitask
and play the role properly.
Multitask, because you are here cooking as a mother and your ear is attending. I'm going to digress a little bit. I watched this video of a woman nowadays with all this content creating, and they said when you are a first time mother, so she's in the bathroom bathing, but immediately she will run out to come and check her baby, and then go back in the bathroom. So a woman has this innate capacity, I think, to multitask. So for at least for me, and same you said, the morph. So this is to our young girls that watch us. If you are like me, that was wondering, always staring at my hands and wondering, will I be able to trust and believe? You will be able to take that step as you move from singleness to wife and then to motherhood. So now we're going to talk about inside the motherhood, when you have your first child, that whole thing, how did it go? You know, when you heard that first cry, because I know what I felt when I heard when they pulled the baby out and you heard that first cry. What was the very first thing that registered in your mind, and how was postpartum?
When I had my first child, I was really excited. I felt very happy. There's just that joy, like oh, it's done, I fulfilled destiny, right?
Yeah,
That's the that was the kind of feeling I had. It was a painful experience, of course. Every mother, woman knows that have had a baby, gone through childbirth, whether through cesarean operation, through regular delivery or vaginal birth. You know that it's hard. It's a lot of work. It's women, kudos to us, because we do to bring forth a human being into the world. That process, personally, that part of delivery was really painful. Not, it was painful, right? It wasn't. I was believing God. There was this book I was reading then, Supernatural Childbirth. By the supernatural childbirth. Well, I still believe it was supernatural, but not, as they said, painless.
Right.
It was not as painless. I remember getting to the labor room, and I went in with because of the way I had heard stories like, oh, you will need something light, just wear something close. So I wore buba and wrapper.
Right.
So I was in a wrapper, so I wore buba and wrapper, and I was still well dressed up. I was in the labor room, staying and everything. And one or two family members that came to visit me to check up on me, they were like, you are not nothing has started. It has not started. I was like, are you sure? I was making mouth. I was like, are you sure? It might be supernatural childbirth. I was like, okay, we've been there, we've seen it. And then my dear, when this pain started, I don't even know where I threw everything away. I took everything off. My underwear were the first to go off. I still had my buba, but man, after some time, it was just the wrapper. After some time, it was just,
oh my God, it went south from there.
It went everywhere, and it was also an awesome experience. So it was really painful. Like, nobody will tell you, nobody can explain the pain. If we talk about what the pain is, we'll spend the whole video talking about it.
But is it true because there's this general saying that you would forget the pain? Do women really forget that pain?
Yes, you kind of forget, but you will remember that it was painful, but the intensity might not really get to you. It's not like you forget, I can't remember. No, not that way of forget. Maybe you just, the joy of what it happened at the end makes you kind of forget. It's more, positive. It's more, you are so happy that you don't mind the pain at the end of the day. So that was it. My first was really long. It was a long labor, and till the end. And towards the very end, I knew what they call labor. God. And at the end of the day, when I came out, I remember coming out of the delivery room, because the labor room is different. When you are ready to push your baby, they take me to the delivery room, which was just like the next door. And so I went to the delivery room, and when we were done, I remember coming out of the delivery room, they wheeled me out, and my mom just arrived to check up on me, because we were not in the same town. And when my mom just got there, I just saw her burst into tears. Mom, it was so painful. It was so painful. I was still on the wheelchair where they will be with the baby, holding on to him. And Mommy, it's so painful. She just held me, She cried and laughed at the same time. So it's really an experience. So at that time, it went, then the job, like, everybody's rejoicing with me. And I was so glad, because some women go in there and, they don't come back alive. Maybe the baby doesn't come out.
Right.
So that fulfillment that God made this happen, and the mother and child are happy and safe, was very, made all the pain go away. And at that time, and of course, when you have natural delivery, you don't have a follow-up pain many times. But that was not the story with my second child, because I had another pain that post-delivery, my stomach, I think, contraction, and I had to be on pain relief for a bit. Yeah, because the tummy was contracting vigorously at that point. Yes, just after delivery. It was like, I did experience this with my first, and at the point I almost forgot I had a baby by my side, because I was going through a lot of pain. They had to give me some injections. I was like, why is this different? But it didn't last for more than a day or thereabout, and then I got better. So with different experiences with different kids.
Mine, I had my babies with C-section, so I didn't really experience all that contracting pain, but what comes after, oh my God. So just so that the story is balanced, I remember when they wheeled me into the theater, and first of all, whoever was my caretaker did not do a good job, because I was still wearing my undies. when they had put me in the theater.
What?
Yes. So, so yeah. So I remember when, and I was wearing the gown, or the theater gown. And then when the doctors came and they say, "What is this? You still have your underwear? What do you think you're doing here?" So they had to take me out. I went and took off my bra, took off my panties, and then came back. And you know the usual thing. Now, because it was C-section, they were going to give me a spinal anesthesia. So they had.
Let me laugh a little bit because you're still wearing underwear.
I wasn't wearing underwear. I don't know. I don't know.
You just asked the doctor, don't see my private part. You want to deliver a baby.
I don't know what was happening. Why did I say underwear?
Well.
So when they now gave me the spinal and laid me on their surgical bed, and the doctor started. You know when they make the cut, there's the retractor that they used to open. As they were doing that, the surgical bed was shaking.
No.
And so here I am looking at the two of them, and they're having this conversation because I'm wide awake. And one of them says to the other, he say, "It's like this table is shaking." Wow. The other one say, "Yes, chief, it's shaking." I'm like,
what's shaking the bed table?
I'm like, these people, I hope they know what they are doing. And then when they pulled Frida out, it was a mixture of many feelings because they pulled her out and she had this strong cry, and I was like, "My city speaking go stubborn." I lied up. I was happy on the one hand, but on the other hand, that was what I was saying. And then they brought, I think, because of it was preterm, so they had to take her to the NICU, and that was another experience because where the maternity postnatal ward was, and where the SCBU, special care baby unit, something like that, where that was quite the distance, and they were on the first floors. So I had to come down and climb another flight of stairs because there were no elevators. So that was a lot. But again, like I said, you rise to it. Where that energy came from, I don't know, because in the country where I had my baby, they are strict about baby friendly. So they were not willing to
introduce formula.
Yes, they will not introduce formula. So by the time, no matter what, whether it's vaginal birth or C-section, as long as your child is in that special baby care unit, by the second day, they are coming to you and start telling you that you have to be up and about. Nobody is going to feed your child.
Ooh.
So we had to, you have to sum up the energy to get it done. So kudos to all the mothers out there.
Yeah.
It's not whether vaginal,
C-section anyway.
And then a lot of people say if it's vaginal birth, the pain is before. But if it's C-section, the pain comes after.
Yeah.
Because after the anesthesia wore off, that was another story. Anytime you want to go use the bathroom and do number 2, you will speak in tongues.
My God.
It was just something else. Those of you that went through C-section, you can relate.
Yeah.
So that was
well, like you said, at the end of it all, somehow there is that euphoria, that joy, that happiness of fulfillment that you have the product of conception in your hands. And that's why our heart goes out to women who lose their kids, maybe stillbirth or through some other means, and they lose the child during delivery or whatever it is, whichever form. Our heart goes out to them because you can imagine the pain of having and carrying something for so many months. Yeah. And then you lose that baby. It's so emotional. So
the good thing on the top of that, because I also experienced that, the good thing on top of that is there's always a second chance. God always comes in to give you a second chance. Either through another delivery of a baby or if it's even adoption. Because I believe that we are in the modern time and the modern world where that for you to be called a mother doesn't only mean it has to come out from you. So if for those that have not gotten kids that way, if you get it through adoption, you are still an authentic mother as long as you are loving on that child and giving that child the best care.
Yeah, awesome. That's very apt.
Yeah.
I agree with you very much, Izo, on that one. So, so motherhood actually, aside after the delivery and all, then comes the work of
Oof.
nurturing. Yeah, that was also a good experience. For me personally, I enjoyed it. I
You
kind
seem,
of,
I'm so jealous now because you seem to have all the, because my stories of breastfeeding
oh
is
my
another
gosh,
thing.
I know.
Maybe when we have the topic where we talk about things they don't tell you about motherhood,
Oh yes,
I
I
will
have
say
to
my
say
bit.
that
I
part.
will say my
Yeah,
bit.
things you don't tell you, even up to when the child
Yeah.
grows up. Yeah, there are a lot of things that you don't know about motherhood, parenthood,
Yeah.
parenting, and all
Yeah.
that. But let's even dwell on that good side of it,
Yeah.
because there are a lot of positive of it. I experienced that. I kind of enjoyed it because it was not so easy, because after having children, when my baby came, most times no, this first one, the only time it was just me and my husband that were at home.
Oh, no, mama.
Yeah, my mom, like I said, came,
Right.
then she left. She had to rush back to work because
Right.
she just heard, oh, I was in labor, and also she took a flight immediately from Abuja
Oh, wow.
to Ibadan, where I was residing. So she came, it was just like and she had to go back
Go back quickly.
after
Yeah.
about 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
So my mother-in-law hadn't come as at that time, as at then, and my mother-in-law came in just before the naming ceremony, which was on the 8th day. So by between the 3rd day and the 7th day, we were just by ourselves,
Right.
myself and my husband. I remember the 3rd day after my mother left, to come back on the 7th day too, for the naming ceremony, and to stay with us for a bit. My husband was the one that was going to bathe the child. He took up the challenge.
Oh
I was
my
like, I'm going to bathe
God.
this child. And we sat down, we set up all the bathing
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, go ahead. Because
Yeah.
it's like, I didn't bring it from heaven. I've not done it before. You've not done it before. So we
Wow.
can both learn and try it. And he sat down and he did a wonderful job,
wow.
because we observed, he
Yeah.
had learned from other
Other,
people,
yes.
seeing his mom, grandmother
Yeah.
bathing other kids, his younger ones. I had also seen other children
Yeah.
being bathed. So I knew how it goes, but not like I was an expert or have ever tried it.
Right.
So we both learned, and so it was just a mix of interesting and exciting.
Yeah.
But I remember having sleepless nights, not
Oh,
because the baby was keeping me awake too much, but because, like you said,
The breastfeeding.
when you're even sleeping,
Yeah,
you are like, has the child suffocated?
Yeah.
Is the child still
Exactly.
breathing? So you're always checking. I was always checking. Is he breathing? Okay, he's still breathing. Because
Yeah.
there's so many
There's so many
things you
things that
so
is-
like, oh, I hope. Oh, you'll be hearing a fake cry, a cry that is not happening. You just wake up. I'm like, oh, did he cry? Did he cry? No, he's not. Go on, calm down. And when
I remember, so just sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
I remember with my second, because this thing you were saying, I just wouldn't let go. I kept holding him and holding him. And then my kid sister at the time, she had her own baby. She was looking at me and wondering, what's wrong with this woman? And then she said something, and that put me at ease. She said, if you lie them on their stomach, they would sleep well. I said, I'm afraid that he might suffocate. And she said, kids are stronger than you think. And walked away. And somehow that just made me, I was like, oh yeah. I have a picture. I like taking pictures. I have a picture of that moment when I laid him down. It's not as if I didn't know that if you lie a baby on the stomach, the baby will sleep. But that constant worry, where you worry about everything, you are like so afraid.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and he just slept, and for a period, I could feel some relief, because I wasn't just badging myself. Because truth be told, when I had my first baby, both mothers were there, so I didn't really. And again, because of all the things around that pregnancy, I had a lot of support. So bathing the baby, I kind of remember when I eventually got to bathe my daughter, because there were so many people and I had a house help. So I have one, I like funny stories. So I had this funny story. I had this house help then that's from Calabar. So my mom had bathed my daughter. My mother-in-law has bathed my daughter. And one time, like, I think they both went to the market or something. I can't remember, but for some reason, they weren't around and it was time to bathe the baby. And so my help comes to me and says, Auntie, I'll say it in pidgin, then I'll say it in English. She said, Auntie, they're not they bath this your pikin well. I said, how do you mean? He said, everybody, because of the way when they take born them, everybody they fear. And I said, okay, so how are you going to beat the bed. Let me watch.
What do you recommend?
And I said, let me help you. She now went, carried water, everything, set everything. After beating my daughter, this house help, she bent Frida. Or she was crying. She was red because Frida was very light skinned at birth. She was bending her neck, bending this, bend. One mind was like, why are you letting somebody touch on your child?
You touch her.
By the time he was done bending, all the bending, she now slept. She said, Auntie, you can see that she's sleeping well now. I said, you touch on the child, you'll sleep. What kind of thing is that?
Oh my goodness.
And then she said, and they are not pressing you hot water. I said, I did not give birth by vagina. He said, it doesn't matter. They are not pressing you hot water. I said, okay, come and press now. This girl boiled hot water, put a towel in it. She couldn't hold it. She was even tossing it like this and tossing it. And then she pushed everything into my stomach. If you see the slap.
Oh my God.
You want to kill me? And she was like, Auntie, if we don't do it like that, your tummy will not be flat. I said, let it be big. Please. Let it be big. So I don't know if maybe mothers in the comment section, did you do the hot water treatment?
I did actually, because honestly, truth be told, just with the way we were brought up, I was bent on having flat tummy. Okay. Even though the tummy was flat, right? I don't know if that works or it doesn't work, but I was bent on having flat tummy, and I was bent on doing whatever it would take to like go back to that
what you wear before
flat tummy stage. Yeah, and it worked in the beginning until you start eating to feed. Then your tummy will bulge out again and say, I am here, I never went anywhere.
Because again, now that we are in this side of the world, they don't do all that.
Yeah.
So again, I kind of reflect back and I imagine, all those things we did. Well, each to his own, as they say.
Well, with hindsight now, looking back, and with a lot of things, I think it's just customs and traditions.
Right.
Some of those things don't really need to do it, because medically, from what I know, putting a child to sleep on the tummy is dangerous.
Yeah.
And it leads to a lot of, they call it cot deaths. So like children can suffocate. So that your fear was really, really valid.
Yeah.
Even though from when I was young, from back home, they normally advise that the child sleeps better on their tummy. And that's why many of us end up sleeping on our tummy. I don't sleep well except I sleep on my tummy. But in the developed world and science or medicine, it tells you let them sleep on their back.
Yeah.
Because especially in the first couple of months of life, because they can't wiggle their heads, they can't move their nose. So if there is cluster of clothes around their face, covering the face, they could suffocate. So to avoid that, they call it cot death, right? So to avoid that is to put the child always on their back, because they will be, their face is free from any obstructions and everything. So what we practiced then was really, really dangerous.
Yeah.
People still practice it now, right?
Because now that you're saying it, I'm flashing back. Apart from the bed that is inside the cot, there's another one they used to. What I'm pointing at is, unlike when you see the cots they have here, it's free. But ours, I remember you will put the bedding, you will put all the pillows, you sometimes even put stuffies around it.
Yeah.
Like
so just to shield the child from hitting any corners of the bed.
The edges of if it's a wooden cot or a steel cot.
Yeah. So it's actually, it was a dangerous practice, which I hope that people are now trying to change.
I also feel that while they're wearing, and this is just me thinking now, why they're wearing so much of all those infant cot deaths was, unlike what you see in the West here, where the baby has a nursery away from where the husband and wife's room is. Even when you have your cot and everything, more often than not, it's inside your bedroom. And even, at least my own reality, even with the cot, more often than not, the baby is with you on the bed.
I even have a cot.
Yeah.
I felt it was a waste of money.
Yeah.
Because for me, I feel I can't be getting up and be going to check a baby on the cot, coming back to lie. I felt it was too much hassle. So I never really invested in buying a separate cot for the child. The best I did, or the most I did, was to get like there was this small baby bed that you put on your own family bed.
Bassinet? Is it bassinet?
It looks like, well, a bassinet would be more like a basket, but this one was like
flat,
a small mattress, and then it has the net over because of mosquitoes and insects, right? So it was just that kind of setup. That was what I had, and the baby was inside the that. And in fact, then I remember I was always scared of bringing out that baby because I was always like, mosquitoes are everywhere, mosquitoes, you know. And oh my god, it was really raising a baby wasn't going back now. I mean, like
at the time you were not thinking about it, but now that you're 20 years ago, it was an intense moment.
Because whenever I unzip that cot, that net part of it, I'm always afraid that mosquitoes have entered inside and they could be, stuck inside. When I finish feeding the baby and I want to put him back into the net cot, I have to like first scatter everything, shake it up to make sure that there's no mosquito trapped inside. It could be really intense.
It can be intense, really, because
but the survival instinct, the instinct that I brought this to life and this child must be well nurtured, must be well nourished, will keep pushing you, give you that energy even if you don't sleep well and all that.
Yes, because like to your story, I got a cot, but I did not. First of all, she didn't like being in the cot. So every time we lay her down, she just start bawling and crying. So we had that thing, the one you talked about. So she was practically on the bed. Some people have the nursing chair. I didn't have a nursing chair. I would breastfeed on the bed.
Me too.
Your entire existence
was on that bed.
You did everything there, and until the child is, I would say, maybe for the first 1 month. Your entire existence is on.
And that was not a good thing because it gives you backaches. Oh my God. And that's where women, please support your wives that are breastfeeding, nursing mothers, new mothers, or even if it's a second or third time, fourth time mom. They're going through a lot. As good and positive as it is, there's a lot of work attached to it.
But on the fun side, one thing I really enjoyed was the food.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes. Oh, the pepper soup.
Oh my hallelujah. God.
So, because you're a nursing mother, they give you the best meals. They give you, heavy protein dense meal. At least in my culture, once the woman becomes pregnant, the mother starts keeping special fish.
Okay.
Yes, they start keeping special fish and stuff that they would use to make the pepper soup that the woman would drink. And then when you now have the baby, non-stop bottomless pepper soup water, if I can use that term, you get the choicest of meats. That's why a lot of women pack up afterwards, because they are constantly feeding you. You have to eat so that you can feed the baby, so that the milk is rich and all that kind. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed all the
good food. I'm jealous of you. I said
I enjoyed that. So. And then not having to cook the food was also a good thing, because you have people around helping you. And then I think another thing that was like a high point for me, and we're just talking about the early stages of motherhood. We would progress to when the child is older, and maybe in subsequent episodes. One other thing that was the high point for me was the first time the baby opened the eyes. That's if you give birth to the one that
close the eyes for like a few days,
and then the first time you could see a recognizable smile on the child's face. That was a lot for me. I actually cried. I actually cried the very first time. I was like, she's smiling. So that was a touchy moment for me. And then also when how do I say this now? When although some people say it's not real, or they are not aware of what they are saying, when they say their first word, if it's mama or dada, whichever one they say first.
Okay.
So that's also another high point for me. And then when the baby stands the first time.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, viewers, you've heard our stories. We've talked about our experiences. We've laughed because we had all these funny stories, and experience with motherhood in the first few years. So we'd like to hear what were your stories, or if you know someone else, maybe a neighbor, an interesting story, put it in a comment. We would like to engage with you. And